Hello and welcome back to Saxon Math. This is lesson 59, adding mixed numbers. We've been practicing adding mixed numbers since lesson 26. In this lesson, we will rename the fraction parts of the mixed numbers so that the fractions have common denominators, then we will add. So here's an example. 2.5 plus 1 1/6. This 2 and this 6 have to have a common denominator before they can be added together as mixed numbers. So in this case, I would want to rename, it looks to me like I would want to rename both of them as common denominator of 6. So this one would be the same as 2 3/6 plus 1 1/6. The 1 1/6 remains the same because it's already got a denominator of 6. And remember to change 1/2 into a common denominator with denominator of 6. It just looks like this. And you'd have 2 times 3 to get to 6. And you'd have to do 1 times 3 to get to 3. So you'd end up with 3/6 for your fraction form. Then you simply, and it's usually best to write these in vertical like this so that you can see the relationship a little bit better. If you were to add these two together, you can see now that the fraction form here is 4 numerators, and the 6 just stays the same, and this would be 4 here. Now we need to reduce this. They're both divisible by 2, so in this case you'd end up with 2/3 as the fraction part, but you can't forget to include the 4 from the whole value there. So make sure you do that. So step 1, write the fractions with common denominators. That's what we did. Then step 2 was to operate by adding the renamed fractions and then add the whole numbers. That's another thing we did there. In step 3, we simplify by reducing the fraction. So it would come out to be that way. When should you reduce a fraction? Always, almost 100%, unless it says otherwise. You should reduce it. If it says to not reduce it, which is very rare, that's just when you would want to do that. All right, in example 2, here's another one. 1.5 plus 2 2/3. So it doesn't look like we can keep either one of these denominators. It looks like we can make a denominator of 6 for both of those. So if I have 1 and something over 6 plus 2 and something over 6 again, 3 times 2 will get me to 6. So that means 4 times 2 has to be done because 3 times 2 is 6. 4 times 2 is going to be 4. This one would be 2 times 3, so 1 times 3 for this one. So now you have 1 3/6, 1 3/6 plus 2 4/6. And if you were to add those together, you end up with 3 7/6. Now you have to simplify this, and 7 divided by 6 is the same as 1 1/6. So now I have 1 1/6 plus this 3. 1 1/6 plus 3 makes 4 1/6. So that'd be the final answer. So again, step 1 is to do the shape. Step 2, operate. Step 3, simplify by converting the improper fraction to a mixed number and then combine the mixed number with the whole number that you had previously. You have to rename both fractions so that you have like denominators. All right, let's practice this. Letter A, 1.5 plus 1 1/3. For letter A, I'm going to rewrite this. I'm going to just do 1 1/2 plus 1 1/3. I'm going to rewrite them vertically, and then I'm going to recognize that they have to be something with a denominator of 6 in both of these. And this would be times 2, so that's times 2. That means this is going to be 2/6. This one was times 3 times 3. That makes this 3/6. And I'm going to add those. I'd end up with 2 whole value, as far as the value is concerned, 2 whole numbers, plus, in this case, 5 numerator, and the 6 stays the same, so it'd be 2 5/6. Letter B, if you have 1.5 plus 1 2/3. 1.5 plus 1 2/3. So I'm going to rewrite it like that vertically. Then I'm going to put an equal, and then I'm going to, again, it looks like I need to rename these with denominators with fractions of denominators of 6. So in this case, this would be times 2 to get to 6. This one would be times 2, which makes the numerator 4. This one would be times 3. The numerator would be times 3, which makes that one 3 as well. Now you have 1 3/6 plus 1 4/6, which ends up being 2 7/6. And I have to recognize that this is 1 1/6 plus 2, because 7/6 is the same as 7 divided by 6, which is 1, and 1 as the numerator, 6 as the denominator, plus the 2 makes 3 1/6 for the final answer. And letter C, 5 1/3 plus 2 1/6. So again, I'm going to write this vertically. 5 1/3 plus 2 1/6. And it looks like I can keep the 2 1/6 because that's already got a denominator that's a 6. It's something I can convert that 3 into just by multiplying by 2. So I'd have 5 wholes, 6 is the denominator there. This would be times 2 as well, so this would be 2/6. So now I have 5 2/6 plus 2 1/6, which equals 7 3/6. And then I have to reduce this. I know that 3/6 is the same as 1/2, so I have 7.5 for my final answer on that one. Letter D, 3 3/4 plus 1 1/3. All right, so I'm going to rewrite that vertically. And it looks like I'm going to have to change both of those into denominators of 12. So I'm going to change that 12. And this would be adding those. This one would be times 4 to get to 12. So this one would be 4 in the numerator. This one would be times 3 to get to 12. So if I multiplied this times 3, I'd end up with 9 here. So it's 3 9/12 plus 1 4/12 equaling 4. And in this case, it'd be 13 twelfths, which in the end, you're going to end up having 13 divided by 12, which is the same as 1 1/12. 13 twelfths is the same as 1 1/12. And you have to remember that you've got that 4 there. You add those two together, and you end up with the final answer being 5 1/12 for this one. Letter E, 5 1/2 plus 3 1/6. So I'm writing that vertically. I'd end up with, looks like 5 with a denominator of 6 is easily done. This one would be the same as 3 1/6. We're going to just keep that. And this would be times 3 to get to 6. So this has to be times 3 to get to 3/6. Now I just add those whole numbers. I've got 8 there. 3 plus 1 makes 4. And the denominator stays the same, 6. This is the same as, since 4 is divisible by 2 and 6 is divisible by 2, this would be the same as 8. We have to remember the 8 wholes there is 8 2/3 in the reduced fraction mixed number. And then letter F, 7 1/2 plus 4 5/8. So in this one, it looks like I've got 4 5/8 is just going to remain 4 5/8 because I can change this one, 7 1/2, into a denominator with 8 pretty easily, because 4 times 2 makes 8. So that means 1 times 4 is going to be 4 there. I add that together, I end up with 11 9/8. And 9 divided by 8 is the same as this. 9 divided by 8, that'd be 1 with 1 left over when you subtract it. That becomes the numerator, and this becomes the denominator. So now I have 1 1/8 plus 11. So I have to add those two together and end up with 12 and 1/8 for the final answer in that. Excellent work today. If you missed anything, make sure you rewind, review, and redo it. Have a good night, and we'll see you tomorrow. Don't forget to do your your written practice during class. All questions 1 through 30. It's very important that you do questions 1 through 30 in math. For Saxon, it is the method that Saxon math uses for you to practice these problems on a regular basis. So that's why we cannot skip any of them. Continue to do all of 1 through 30. All right. See you next time.